Hello, and welcome to episode 115 of the Rewards Canada podcast. Today, we welcome Kevin Crowe, the founder of giveamile, who is back for his third appearance on the podcast. Welcome back, Kevin.
It's so great to be back, Patrick. Thank you for hosting me and having me yet again, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. But you know what? I can't believe it's actually been 6 years, almost to the day, that we last
Whole,
had you on the podcast. I
holy
took,
smokes, that
yeah,
COVID thing got in the way of us
yeah,
having a
I
podcast together.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I took a quick look and listened before recording today's session, and it was November 13th, 2018 that podcast came out. So, and this
Wow.
one I think will be coming out right around. It might even, you know what? Maybe I'll plan it and put it right out on November 13th,
I
2024. We'll
I
see how it
love
goes.
that. I love that, man.
That'll
Let's
be
do it,
perfect.
man. Let's make it
So,
happen.
yeah, I mean, I for one, I didn't even think it was that long. And man, I
Mm,
apologize for not having you back sooner. It's like time flies for sure.
time
Yeah,
flies.
time
Yeah.
flies. But yeah, honestly, great to have you back. And for all of our listeners and viewers, this is also our first true interview that's being done as an actual true video podcast as well. Tell them a little about yourself and let us know what Give a Mile is all about.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm the founder of Give a Mile, and what we do is we have people donate their travel loyalty miles, and we give flights for people to fly to be with their loved one who's at end of life, right? So you give 1,000 aeroplan miles, and I give 1,000 aeroplan miles, and we get people on a flight to go see their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother for a final visit, a final chance to say goodbye. And we've been at this for just about 11 years now, and we've given over 1,200 flights, incredible flight stories, incredible impact, using about over 53 million donated miles. And so it's been an incredible journey, and your help and getting the word out has been huge for that. I cannot tell you what it means for these families. One minute you don't think you're going to see your loved one ever again, and to have the gift of a flight from all these incredible people in your network that have donated their miles, it's like they won the lottery ticket. They say that to us over and over again.
Yeah, it's been so amazing what you guys have been doing. I mean, you're now, what is it?
Just over, like, call it 12, right? And
12?
in
Yeah.
a couple months, we'll officially be in our 12th year. And,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
awesome.
we were scrapping it out, and always been grassroots for the community, by the community. And, about 4 years ago, we expanded in the US. So we are a 501c charity in the US now, and we're also a registered charity in Canada. And we're committed to the 100% donation model. So any miles that are donated to flights, 100% are going to go to flights.
Absolutely. I noticed that. Yeah, yeah. You guys are like 100% volunteer driven too, right? Everything is 100%
Well,
all
I would,
given.
since we've chatted, we've actually had to put in some temporary staff, or
Okay.
like part-time staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just the volumes we're doing, and the kind of maturing of the organization. We've got some people helping us out on accounting, and that help us with the families and help with some fundraising. But, we're still volunteer led, and I would say, call it 90% volunteer driven. But we do want to scale the organization, right? My big,
Yeah.
hairy, audacious goal is to give 1 billion miles away this way. We're at 53 million of that, right? So we've got a ways to go. But we have seen the requests for flights go through the roof, especially in the last few years with inflation, as a lot of us can imagine, right? The
Yeah.
cost of living and just trying to get through these situations. You know, um, we are receiving hundreds and hundreds of flight requests a month
Wow.
now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Just amazing what you guys are doing. And yeah, hopefully all of this will help you guys,
It
raise some
always
more
does,
flights and
man. It
miles. So
always does.
yeah,
Yeah.
so just like 6 years ago, we have you
Yeah.
on. It's during your annual holiday campaign to
Yeah.
try and raise as many flights as possible. And we want to kick off awareness for 2024. Your goal this year is to raise enough points, miles, and funds for 52 more flights of
Yeah.
compassion. And so let's talk about that first. Can you roughly tell us how many miles or equivalent of points or cash that you're hoping to raise by January 1st?
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple things. Thank you for having us on the holiday campaign. It runs from November 1st to January 1st. We give flights away all year round, but obviously the holiday season, a lot of focus on, charity and good work. And it's always been, a big substantial raise for us. So we picked 52 because I founded Give a Mile. I lost an incredible friend to brain cancer, Ryan, and spent the last year of life with him as, he was kind of fading away from us. And he taught me so much wisdom and gave me so much insights about the power of being together and the power of having time together. And he would be turning 52 this year,
Okay.
actually in a couple
Wow.
weeks. So we wanted to honor his birthday, and so we chose 52. It's a uh, big goal, but we know we can pull it off. Now, how we do that is, we have people that are called flight heroes that come in, and they'll raise certain amount of miles. And, sometimes that's a team, sometimes that's a company, sometimes that's an individual. And you can come in, we've started at 15,000, 30,000, 80,000, 100,000. You can set your target
Okay.
of what you want. On average for us, a flight, and obviously, we're using different programs and that type of thing, but on average, we're saying it's about 60,000 points right now for a flight, about $900 cash for a flight for us.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, sometimes we're able to do some long haul flights, sometimes it's short haul
Yeah.
flights.
Yeah. So it's a
Um,
mixture for sure.
yeah, right. So
Uh,
that's kind of the math for us. And obviously, like I said, we're getting, hundreds of applicants.
yeah.
So we want to make sure we hit this number this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a few questions about that, which we'll talk about
Yeah,
after our discussion of your holiday campaign and the flight heroes. Since
yeah.
you've already touched upon some of the things, you've answered some of my questions already. But so, how many corporate flight heroes do you have signed on for this year so far?
Yeah, right now I think, and we're in the campaign itself, right? So
Yeah.
people are signing up every day. I think we're at about 24.
Oh, that's awesome.
And people are like, we always say, you can launch your campaign anytime from November 1st to about November 15th is the latest you want to do it. Obviously, people get into kind of true holiday mode and they're not as
Yeah.
around as much. But, so about 24 people or organizations are going to be launching their campaigns through that time. And we obviously would love more. It helps us, get to our 52 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess you kind of answered my question. I was going to ask, can anybody join as a flight hero? Like it doesn't have to be corporate flight hero. It can be personal,
Yeah.
anybody, right? Okay.
Yeah, anybody can. And, we see it right from the individual. We see it, from, like I said, organizations, right? Sometimes companies get on and they'll do a rally. We also see like teams inside of companies have done it. So like,
Okay.
the HR department's going to raise a flight, that type of thing. And we also see people challenging their friends and family, right? So we have one organization that came in this year, they want to do at least 10 flights and they've kind of put the ask out to their network, right? Come in and match us and make that happen. So there, we really want this to be about kind of building community together. And you get a Flight Hero coach and they help you. You get your own Flight Hero page. As people donate it, you see your miles and any money that's donated, those miles are tracked. And then they'll give you some social media help or any kind of messages or some kind of guidance of kind of how to reach out to your network. But once we've got your miles in and we connect it to a flight, we're going to share that flight story with you. So you know exactly who you helped, and it's going to be extremely tangible. And we love that about the model, just how much impact there is for people, right? That you got Jane or Joe on a flight and they saw their dad, and you know that you're making really good things happen.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, I love that you even do the follow up afterwards so people know, how they've
Yeah,
helped out. So a lot of
yeah,
times, I mean, a lot of times, and I mean, and I think that comes with scaling and becoming sometimes when you become such a large charity,
yeah,
you don't get that feedback. You make your donation and you know you've done
yeah.
something good, but you don't get that personalization, that's cool.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I also think, some charities, there's very complex problems they're solving, right? That's very hard to kind of show you sometimes, exactly how far they've moved the ball downfield. But for us, we've got this beautiful model because we can tell you helped that family, right? And you know exactly kind of where they went and what the story is behind why they needed a flight.
That's great. So for those that don't sign up as Flight Hero, can you explain to our listeners and viewers quickly how do they go about donating and like who are some of your key
Yeah.
partners?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to giveamile.org, so giveamile.org, you go to our front page there, there'll be a donate button on there, and you can donate miles or cash. Any cash, we'll give you a tax certificate for it, right? It's deductible. We are a charity both in the US and Canada. We can't do that on points, unfortunately.
No, exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
bit of a gray area. We don't have the ability to kind of work that out with the government. So, but cash, absolutely, you get your tax receipt. Now, when you donate, Aeroplan and United, absolutely easy to transfer to us, 1,000 miles minimum. There's no charge to move that over for free. Both United and Air Canada have been incredible partners for us and been on board and, you know, um, help amplify our message, let people know about us. We can't say enough about those partnerships. If you have points outside of those programs, we need you to pledge because you just don't have the ability to transfer. So if you have Avion, for instance, we need you to either pledge enough for a short haul and a long haul. And then when we get the family that meets your mile requirements, we
Yeah.
connect with you and we book that flight together and get it to the family. So, all those programs are eligible. I would just say, just a little bit, a couple more
Easier.
steps
Yeah.
in
A
that
couple more steps than
donation
others. Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I even saw one of your flight stories had somebody with scene points, with like scene
That's
plus.
right.
So it
Yeah,
can,
and sorry, I
yeah.
totally forgot. Scene has been a huge partner of ours, and I can't say enough. They came on a couple of years ago, and they've been just amazing at what they've been doing and their commitment and how they rally their ecosystem to get behind us. And they've been a huge part of a large number of flights that have gone out the door.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
cool. I love it. So before we continue on, I will mention that Rewards Canada, for those who don't know, has signed on to be a corporate flight hero. And our goal through Rewards Canada and our community is to raise 50,000 points. But you're saying you need 60. So let's try and do 60 people. Let's raise 60,000 and I will match up to 25,000 points of donations. So basically we only need to get to 25 to 35,000 from the community. I know you
That's
guys can do
awesome,
it.
Patrick.
It's like 1,000 points each. So you guys can do it. So I truly hope that we can actually get beyond the 50,000 as you guys need as many points as possible. We'll put a link to the Rewards Canada Flight Hero page in the podcast description at rewardscanada.ca/podcast and in the description below on the YouTube channel. So big thank you to all of you who choose to donate. Some of you already have because we kicked this campaign off on, I
Yeah.
think we were like November
Yeah.
2nd, we launched.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
greatly appreciated by ourselves and of course by Give a Mile, whatever you guys can do to help out. It's so greatly appreciated. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's huge, Patrick. And your community has been so awesome across all these years and has been there for us. And I'll share one quick story if we can, just
Yeah.
around some of the kind of flight impact and what you're making happen. So this is just an example. I think sometimes people think about these flights are to older people, the natural kind of way life works. But we had an awesome donor step up. I think it's about a week ago now that made a flight happen for our grandmother to fly to be with her 6-year-old granddaughter who only has a few weeks left to live.
Oh, yeah.
And she is going to be there and she's going to support her daughter, her son-in-law, the other grandbabies, and obviously be with her grandchild until the child passes. They have been through a lot of financial hardships. There's no way that flight would happen without an incredible donor that made that happen. She wrote us an incredibly beautiful letter of what it means to her. In fact, she was in tears. We were in tears because obviously she didn't think she was going to be able to be there for her granddaughter. You cannot put that into words for that family, what that means, how that's going to help them be there for each other, and obviously through the grieving process. I say, we've all given incredible gifts away at Christmas. I've received incredible gifts at Christmas. Um, I think this is one of the best gifts you can make happen, especially in the spirit of the holiday season.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think what you described, what you guys do to a T.
Yeah.
Exactly. Bringing it's bringing tears to my eyes. It's going to bring tears to some of our viewers and readers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just great. So I mean, like you said earlier in the podcast too. I mean, we're talking about the holiday campaign in here, everything, but that roughly only takes up 2 months of the
Yeah.
year, and you're a
Yeah.
year-round charity. So let's dig into some of the, we'll dig into just some of the things you guys do normally. Like,
Yeah.
so how many flight requests would you say you receive annually, like through Give a Mile?
Yeah, right now we are probably receiving, and it's been going up. We're probably receiving somewhere around 800 to 900 flight
Wow.
requests.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
2 or 3 a
throughout the
day.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then how many you guys end up fulfilling?
Yeah, so this year, if we hit the 52, we are going to be probably around the 200 mark,
Okay.
which will be a record year for us,
Yeah.
which we love to do, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
obviously love to meet that need. And, people ask a lot, well, how do you make these tough decisions, right? Families and there's a few things. Everyone's medically verified, right? We have to get a note from either the hospice or social worker or spiritual care provider. We have a flight review team, so our review team looks at the application. And then based on resources, obviously sometimes, we don't have the resources to make flights happen.
Yeah.
We basically look at it first in, first out based on our resource availability and what we can do for the families. So we've got a team behind there that is incredible work that they're doing. Like I said, you can see the demand is there, and we'd
Yeah.
love to scale the organization.
No, absolutely. So you just answered my next question. I was going to see
Yeah,
kind of the vetting process. So you
yeah,
kind of did that. But you and I were talking just last week, and you mentioned the record time between
yeah,
somebody applying for a flight and your vetting
yeah.
and getting it all approved. And what is that time?
Yeah, it's 4 hours
Or
roughly is
wow,
the
wow.
record we've done. Now,
Yeah,
obviously we get a lot of like requests. I need to fly as soon as
yeah,
possible. And we usually say, hey, the next day or the day after, depending on
yeah.
obviously how we can find seats. But this one all fell in place where we had, the medical approval. We got it to the flight review team. We got it approved. We got it booked and they were off to the airport
Wow,
all
wow.
within
Yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that talks about, that's going to be my next thing to talk about you with is about you guys don't have the luxury of flexibility. Like a
that's
lot
right.
of
Yeah.
people in the points and miles community, it comes down to flexibility. It's
Yeah.
about finding those right flights for the least amount of points or
Yeah.
miles at, for whenever you can go. You guys
Yeah.
don't have that. Like a lot of times you say flight happens within 48 hours of approval,
Yeah.
correct? Like people are flying
Yeah.
out. And so if you know anything about the airline industry, if you're trying to
Yeah.
book flights within a day or 2 days, it's not cheap. And that's the same with the
Yeah.
points programs because most points programs, including Aeroplan, Miles Plus, all that stuff, they're flexible, they're dynamic.
Yeah.
So if the cash price is high, the mileage price is high. And yeah, so you're limited by what the airline is offering. So sometimes, a flight that we may think is only 60,000 points,
Yeah.
for the community may be 200,000 points, for you guys or whatever. So, and you
Yeah.
guys,
And
yeah,
yeah, and we do roughly call it 10% of our flights in cash. And because sometimes obviously the point discrepancy is too big and we're just
yeah,
going to spend money on it. But we also do a fair amount of flights from like northern remote communities, right? Because a
oh
lot of
yeah,
times family members are brought down to a city like Vancouver or Edmonton and look at I got to fly out here. I've only got a local charter. So cash is a big help
yeah,
for us as well. And I would say like thank you, Patrick, for you and the community. You've helped us understand a lot about the point system. So we always try to
yeah.
maximize and you've given us lots of good tips on how to do things. But absolutely, time is of the essence for the
Yeah.
vast
Yeah.
majority of
So
our
I'm
flights.
glad
And
to hear that you guys do that though, that you guys vet even, what do we pay cash or do we pay miles,
yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's the thing. I mean, yeah, if a flight is if they're asking 300,000 miles for a flight and it's maybe only $1,200, it's probably better
yeah,
to go $1,200 and then get a couple flights or 3 or 4 flights for the 300,000 miles, right?
you
So
you
that's
got it.
yeah,
We are
yeah.
always trying to
So
maximize
that's
those
awesome.
resources,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Yeah,
glad to
yeah,
hear that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys receive no special pricing from the airlines, correct? Like there's no
Currently, we
special, yeah,
don't.
you don't,
I,
yeah,
I would say those partners have been great at like helping us. If we sometimes we have to move flights and cancel flights, and they've
yeah,
always, been good at making that happen and making sure we don't get dinged for that kind of
that's
stuff. But
good.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, as far as special status, et cetera, we don't have any of
Nothing
that.
like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So the amount of points you pay is what,
yeah,
Jack or Jill would be paying, right? For
yeah,
flights. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so maybe that's something we'll have to work on too. We'll
We
talk
would love some help there. Absolutely.
to Aeroplan and Mileage Plus and the
Yeah.
others, and like,
Yes.
maybe we need to give them a little bit of a better, try and help them out on the point side, on the
Yeah.
redemption side. So
100%.
let's see what
100%.
we can do. When you and I chatted at the mega event, the big loyalty
Yeah.
conference earlier this year, you were about to leave on a big adventure
Yeah.
to start raising more awareness of Give a Mile and more points and cash
Yeah.
donations. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So, this is a personal initiative. This is a passion project. Give 'em all is a passion project for me. I have a day job. I work in technology. But this is a real special year. And I wanted to do something special in Ryan's memory. And so not only, we have the 52 for his birthday, I have a personal campaign. It's 1,400 kilometers in the Yukon to raise 37 flights because that's how old Ryan was when when he passed away. 1,400 kilometers. The first 700 was on a paddleboard, paddling the Yukon River on the Yukon River Quest, which is a race normally done in canoe. I did it on my stand-up paddleboard,
Wow.
which usually goes from Whitehorse to Dawson. Now, I finished the race, but the finish line was a little earlier because there was a bunch of wildfires up there and we couldn't
Oh
get up to
no, yeah,
Dawson.
yeah.
Dawson
Oh,
was shut down. So happy to say, I completed the race, but not the full distance. We'll get those kilometers in here in a bit. The second part is February 2nd. I go back up to participate in the Yukon Montane Ultra, which is a race you can do either on a fat bike, cross country skis, or on foot. I'm going to do it on foot. It's self-supported. You pull your sled, and it's
wow.
700 kilometers. It's basically, think of it outside
Wow.
of Whitehorse, basically due north in the Yukon in February. So you got to camp in the cold. You got to take care of yourself in the cold. It's an incredible adventure. Only every 2 years they do the full 700
Yeah,
kilometers. Normally it's a 300-kilometer race. So that's my other 700 kilometers of the 1,400 kilometers. We have raced so far 22 flights on that goal. And so, yeah, we're going to get to 37 here when we head out in February. Doing a lot of training.
yeah,
I'm the only one right now in Calgary praying for some snow and some bad weather here because I got to test my gear.
yeah. And you have
But
to
we're
pull
feeling
your
we're on
sled,
track.
right? Yeah,
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 yeah.
exactly. Pull my
No,
sled around.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is so great to hear. And where can people follow you on these journeys? I'll put the links in our descriptions, but like is on Instagram, social media,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. On so I'll give you the Give a Mile ones and then I'll give you my personal handles,
yeah,
right? So like we said, giveamile.org. You can go there. There's a kind of landing page around the 1,400 kilometers as well. As obviously the holiday campaign, et cetera, is at giveamile.org. We're on Instagram at Give a Mile, right? So you can
Yeah.
follow us on Instagram as well as on Facebook, Give a Mile. And then personally, my Instagram is Kevin Stewart Crowe, STUARTCROWE. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I post a bunch around Give a Mile on
Yes. Yeah.
LinkedIn, and we'd love you to follow me there as well. And, we're going to keep you updated. We're trying to get as much footage, et cetera, around this crazy 700 kilometers as we can because we want you to feel a part of it. And, you've been an incredible rallying around our cause. And we want to take you on this amazing adventure. And we also hope, because one of Ryan's major lessons was time and, doing the things that you really want to do and not putting them off till tomorrow. That if you've wanted to run a 5K or a 10K or, it's time for you to run the marathon, whatever those goals are, I would say, go get them. What I've learned through, working with Give Mile and Ryan is do not put it off to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even if it scares you a little bit, those are the best things to go after. And you're going to be so proud of yourself when you make them happen. So we'd love to see people do those types of things as well.
That's awesome. You're such an inspiration to a lot of people. So thank you so much what you've
Thank
been
you,
doing.
Patrick. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, so let's see. I mean, we're getting close. Oh, it's actually, I'm looking at my list of questions here. We still have a few things here.
Yeah.
I think you've maybe touched upon it, but one question I had is what would you say is the biggest hurdle for Give a Mile?
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle is really getting the word out, both
Okay.
for donors and for flight recipients, right? Although the flight recipient thing has really kind of taken off.
Yeah.
I bump into a lot of people and, they ask you what you do and I tell them about Give a Mile and they're like, why haven't I heard about this? This is like, it's such a logical idea. And I think obviously we've talked about how important those flights are and, for us donating some miles to really give that person probably the most important flight they're going to have in their life. They're just like, this is like a Reese's peanut butter cup, right? Like peanut butter and chocolate just go together really well and using donated miles for flights. So that's a really big one. And then I would say if you kind of look at the pledge process, the technology to get those other airlines on board and so
Yeah.
that it wouldn't be as cumbersome and it'd be an easier donation process, just like Aeroplan, just like United has done. We would love to overcome that hurdle as well.
That would be great. Well, you hear that from more kind of community. If you're on the tech side too and know how to connect with
Yeah,
these airlines and help out and so that
a
it
hundred
is easier to
percent. We
pledge those
love more
points.
programs
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. And so you already touched upon this too a bit, but you became a registered not-for-profit in the US.
Yeah.
United Mileage Plus is your big partner there.
Yeah.
It's been for a few years now. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that for anybody who may be listening on the US side of things?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're a full registered charity 501c in the US and United is our big partner. During COVID, we expanded down in the US. We were seeing demand there and we wanted to expand the mission. And so it's been over the last few years has been amazing to see the growth there. And same thing, if you donate any cash and you can donate on our website, there's the US donations and the Canadian donations, or you go get a tax receipt for your cash donations as well. It's interesting in the US, obviously 10x the size of Canada, right? And
Yeah.
so, the flight requests and the flight demand as the word's been getting out is really increasing in the US. So we would love to expand in the US and we would love any corporate sponsors or any potential, corporate backers in the US to help us scale there would be amazing as well.
Oh, that's great. And what percentage, like I know you guys are just over 1,200 flights now, which I
Yeah.
checked back when we were recorded 6 years ago, you were just over 500. So 700
Yeah.
more flights over
Yeah.
that time. But what percentage of the 1,200 would be on like US based, like out of
Yeah,
the
the
there?
US has been growing fast for us, right? And so over the first few years, I think the first year we gave like 10 flights in the US and then like
Yeah.
20 but this year the US will probably be of those 200 flights will probably be almost 75 of those
Wow. Yeah.
200,
So
right? So
getting close to
we're
50.
getting
Yeah.
close to 50-50
Yeah.
and like I said, you just have such a bigger market there and so many more
Yeah.
people. I think in a few years, we'll be doing more flights in US and Canada just because of the size of the
Exactly.
population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That makes sense. So to close out, is there anything else you would like to share with the Rewards Canada community who are listening or watching?
Well, I just want to say once again, a huge thank you, right? You've been a part of this journey for many, many years, and we've always felt like, one, you helped us educate us because I didn't know anything about points program and just how it works, and you've always helped us network and get in front of people, and then your community has always been so supportive of us, and when you put the ask out, we know miles are going to come in, so just a huge thank you, and also. I want to share like this is the community for the community. So I get to talk about it, but you are the people that are making it happen. And I hope that you understand the impact that you give to these families. I tell the story of, there was a woman, she had about a week left to live. We were flying her granddaughter and daughter to her, and I talked to her on the phone, and she just said, if someone rolls in a wheelbarrow full of $5 million, it's absolutely meaningless to me at this point in my life. There's only one thing I want, and that's time with my loved ones. And so what you've made happen is like winning the lottery. But she also said, you got to remember what it means for someone who's leaving this world for complete strangers, people I don't know, to give me this gift, the faith I have in humanity because of that. And that's what your community's done with us. So we just want to say a huge thank you and let's get to 52.
Yeah, let's do it. Great. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Kevin. It's always a pleasure having you on the podcast, even though it's been 6 years. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'm sure we'll have you on sooner. Maybe even the new year. I'd love to hear, have you back on to talk about your
When I get
trek.
back from the
Yeah,
Yukon, Patrick, we'll do one for sure, man.
absolutely. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody, that is all she wrote for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for tuning in. Be sure to help spread the word so we can keep bringing you the best loyalty rewards content in Canada. And you can help out Give a Mile that way too by spreading the word with the podcast so more people hear about it, see it and everything. Share it, hit the like button, leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform. You know the drill. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you find out when we have videos like this go up at any old time. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.